What's up, YouTubers? So before we get started with this video, on Get Up, they're going to be talking about which team is going to win, the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson or the Pittsburgh Steelers with Ben Roethlisberger. So let's see what they have to say about that.
Why are you concerned about the Ravens right now?
Well, I sat on this very seat 2 weeks ago, and I told you I was concerned with the lack of weapons around Lamar Jackson. I love that they went out and got Yannick. That's great, but that's adding a strength to a strength. You know, we need to be able to have Lamar Jackson be able to counterpunch, because when we get to the
True.
playoffs and you go against some good teams, they've been able to take that dynamic running game away and put the ball squarely in the hands of Lamar Jackson, who hasn't been able to really come up big in those situations. You think about, the Chargers, you think about the Titans, and being disappointed. It's one thing to win during the regular season, but the clock is ticking, Greeny, on being able to go get these luxury pieces like Yannick, go out and get these luxury pieces like Marcus Peters, because his contract is the elephant in the room, and when he gets that contract, you're going to lose those type of pieces. You have to go and find and get him a weapon on the outside of the numbers. Only 2 touchdowns to a receiver this year. That's disrespectful to me.
Hence the foreshadow.
Yeah, so I definitely think Lamar Jackson and Baltimore Ravens need some help. You can't be having Lamar Jackson be your bread and butter by himself, having him passing and then rushing for 100 yards a game. I mean, you can't have that. It's too much for him. But that's why I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers with this one. Ben Roethlisberger is on fire. The Pittsburgh Steelers are absolutely killing it. Like I said before the season even started, I would not count out a healthy Ben Roethlisberger. He's a 2-time Super Bowl winner. He's a healthy Hall of Famer. His arm doesn't hurt anymore. Nothing really hurts anymore. That man is still very dangerous, and he's proving it right now. And I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to beat the Baltimore Ravens.
That I gave you about Julio Jones.
Yeah.
Not Julio aside.
No.
Are we hearing the Ravens are out there looking for a receiver? Do we think they may add a weapon?
Signing Dez Bryant was, a very fair sign here that they know
I can't say it with a straight face. Dez Bryant played like 10 years ago.
He did.
Yeah, he played about 10 years ago, but actually he played earlier than that. But he's still a weapon. He still can hurt you on 3rd and long or 3rd or whatever. He can come in there and at least be a decoy. And when you got everybody else covered up, he just walk to Dez Bryant. You know he still has hands.
He did, but he showed him enough, right? So he worked out with him in the summer. He didn't have a great workout, but he came back again, and apparently he's in better shape, and he's playing better. So, look, they're taking a risk with, here, and with it's actually very little risk on taking a chance on Dez here. But it is very clear that Lamar Jackson is not the same quarterback that we saw last season. They're running 10 yards less per carry here that on average.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows who's going to get the ball and how to stop it.
And that's pretty much telling the story. And then you just look at the sacks here, the pressure he's getting. Last year, he had 25 sacks the entire season. He's already got 16 through 5.
Right.
So he's feeling that pressure because they know he's looking to run first. They're going to take him down.
It's old. They've seen it on
They
film.
figured it out.
It's a game plan. They understand what it means now.
So all the concerns for the Ravens.
Exactly. That's why Lamar Jackson needs some help. They need a receiver to make them be more multi-dimensional, so you don't just have to stack the box and go in for Lamar Jackson because you know what's going to happen. So definitely, that's what I'm saying. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to beat the Baltimore Ravens. I like Lamar Jackson. He's a baller and everything that goes along with that, but he needs some help. That's why the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to take care of him, that defense.
And I figure RC is going to be in here doing nothing but talking smack. But Ryan, you're telling me this morning you have a concern that I think most people don't see coming.
Yeah, we talked about the ifs coming into this year, and it was if Ben Roethlisberger was healthy. Well, my if for this game is if Ben Roethlisberger plays well, if Ben Roethlisberger protects the ball, if Ben Roethlisberger is the Big Ben that led this team to 2 Super Bowl championships. And we saw the tale of 2 Bens last week against the Tennessee Titans. And I told you guys before, there are these certain players that you just know you have to live with some things. They're going to make some great plays, like the shovel pass out in the flat to Eric Ebron, and then they're going to throw 3 interceptions in the second half, and you feel like you got to go out and play. Sometimes you don't even get a good drink of Gatorade. Well, if he turns the ball over against Marlon Humphrey, against Calais Campbell, against Marcus Peters, some of these very ball-aware football players that the Baltimore Ravens have on their team, they're going to lose this game. And so for me, it's about Ben Roethlisberger not only making plays to Chase Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, using James Conner out of the backfield, but it's about him protecting the football. I believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers have the better defense. I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers have the better overall team. But it's about, hush, it's my turn. You said a whole lot of weed earlier. I'm talking about these 2 people
You got all
that
that
played. I'll
all
get
them
to
frown
you later.
lines on your
Because
face.
I told you what Rob Spillane was Hey, listen, I told you what Ross Spillane was going to do last week. I can't sun you 2 weeks in a row. We're trying to be friendly here. Back to what I was saying, though. If Ben Roethlisberger doesn't play well, if Ben Roethlisberger turns the ball over in this game, the Baltimore Ravens win. And I feel like that's their path to victory. So this is all about Big Ben not being if he's healthy, but being the Big Ben that helps the Pittsburgh Steelers win this game.
So I think Big Ben's going to be okay, and that's obvious. I mean, that's so cliche to say, well, if he doesn't turn the ball over, they'll have the best chance to win. Of course that's going to happen. I think there's a couple other things that need to be in play for the Pittsburgh Steelers to win, and that's their defense definitely containing Lamar Jackson. Obviously, Ben Roethlisberger needs to go out there and do his thing, which I don't have any doubts about him. They're undefeated for a reason. They're 6-0 for a reason, and I feel like Ben Roethlisberger is just on fire right now. And it doesn't doesn't seem like he's getting the credit he should be getting for being one of the only undefeated teams. But it is what it is. That's why I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are probably going to win this game. And Lamar Jackson, he's got too much. He's got too much on his plate. Too much on his plate.
Just a little glimpse of what we were looking for, and we will come back to that. But Rob Ninkovich, let me come to you because the scheduling of this game is fascinating. The Ravens are coming off a bye. The Steelers were supposed to be, but because of the rescheduling involved with Tennessee, they're coming off a tough game, that physical matchup we were just talking about, where the Titans made a big comeback in the second half. How big an advantage is that in your mind for Baltimore, Rob Ninkovich?
I don't think it's that big of an advantage, obviously. Look, you can think back to the playoffs when the Ravens were the number 1 seed. They had a bye week. They went out and they lost in the playoffs. So sometimes that bye week can almost be a time for you to reflect on the things that you're not doing well and questioning the things that you're doing and questioning your skill sets. So the Ravens, to me, I think they're going to go and play the Steelers, who have just come off a huge win against Tennessee. They're kind of rolling right now. They don't want to have a bye week. They want to just keep rolling into the season here. I can think back to the playoffs, and when we were, going into the playoffs, we had a bye week. We were just telling each other in the locker room with the Patriots, like, look, let's just go play. We're ready to go. We're healthy. Let's go play football. So sometimes that bye week could actually make you be worse and not help you be a better football team when you have too much time on your hands. I just think that it could potentially hurt them. So I think the Steelers coming out after this last week victory against Tennessee are going to just be steamrolling right now. They're going to be ready to go. I'm going with the Steelers on this matchup because of that defense.
RC, how about?
Exactly. I'm going with the Steelers too. Definitely Ben Roethlisberger. I think he's going to do his thing. I'm not worried about him throwing picks or anything like that. But I definitely think they're going to take care of business. And our defense is definitely going to shut down Lamar Jackson because you already know what their bread and butter is. And if you can just stop him, then you're good to go. So let's continue.
Bye week.
Listen, it's not about what happens before you play the Baltimore Ravens.
Thank you.
It's about what happens after. Whenever I would look at the schedule, I didn't care if it was the Cleveland Browns the week before, or I didn't care if it was the Cincinnati Bengals the week before the Baltimore Ravens. I wanted either a bye after we played the Baltimore Ravens, or I wanted the bye that the Pittsburgh Steelers will get in playing the Dallas Cowboys after the Baltimore Ravens. Because when you are neck deep in ice and you are neck deep in making sure that your treatment plan is on schedule so you can actually get on the field the next week after the Baltimore Ravens game, that's what's important.
I notice you nodding. You're feeling the same way.
Well, with all fairness to Rob, he wouldn't understand what this type of rivalry is all about. This is the most physical rivalry in all of football. I mean, you talk about the
Whoa. I don't know about that. I do not know about that.
history of this game. We call it double chin strap
Bart, come
game.
on. I know you
have to
played for
understand.
the Bart, hey.
But
it's not physical for you?
No. Listen,
I know you played for the Jets.
Jets, Patriots cannot compare. This is something totally different. This is a man's game. This is Ward Gotti. This is like in the trenches. Ain't no fancy stuff going on. Ain't no trickeration. It's like I'm going here and I'm going through you. Can you stop it? Yeah, it's nothing to do.
Yeah. This might be a big rivalry to you, but there's a bigger rivalries out there like the Chargers versus the Raiders. I'd say the San Francisco 49ers versus the Dallas Cowboys. There's a lot of rivalries out there that can't rival that.
Listen, when I went to the AFC East and we played the Patriots, it was more about minds. It was more about strategy. This is a straight up alley fight right here. It has nothing to do about this. This is about a double chin strap. Somebody gonna get carried off. I'm sorry to say that. Somebody, I can go through the rivalry, and I know later we're gonna talk about it. Whether it's Ben Roethlisberger and his crooked nose and him having to pack his nose so he can finish the game, or whether it's Debo knocking Ed Reed.